Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got my overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. Now zooming in here, so we have this uptrend here, break, first attempt higher, break, second attempt higher. So notice this trade right here, how we broke out of the overnight high, then we had first attempt to fade, and then second attempt to fade. So this entry was on the second attempt to fade, so that's a failure because price moves in twos. That's how you get second entries. And so we have the first attempt, second attempt, two-legged move right there. EMA has been holding perfectly right there. You see once, twice, three times. And then also at the time of this trade, it was also fitting off of this key entry point here. So I had this channel forming up here, fourth bounce off the key entry point. EMA is holding really well. Now the uptrend does have a break in a new high, but we can't expect a possible two-legged move, especially after, it's having the second attempt to fade right here, not able to get through the overnight high. So we can expect a failure there to continue that second leg higher and reach that measured move. So we bounce up there. I had my target just to that measured move because you are entering into new highs at this point. So you don't want to push your target too far. You don't want to push it past that measured move there. So that's 1.3 R there. So we push up. As soon as we reach that measured move here, we start going sideways, chopping sideways. And so we go sideways here. We go into this range right here. And there's really no entries on here. We just keep holding on the EMA. So the EMA was holding really well this whole way up here. And so you don't want to go short into it. Not to mention you have this right here anyway. And so you break through the EMA. You shoot out the overnight. You shoot out these range lows right here. And even though you chop through the EMA once, that's not enough to enter into the EMA. So I didn't see anything in here. It was choppy anyway. It was forming its own little congestion right there anyway. But even if there was a more decent setup down here, and say it held onto the range and the EMA was a little higher, I still wouldn't want to enter into the EMA because the EMA had been proven very strong all day. And I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bounces in a row. And then it only had one push through. So that's not really a sign that the EMA is very, weak. If you want to enter into the EMA, you want the EMA weakened. So you don't get that there, but you do push higher here. You have this push up, break, second leg higher here. And then I didn't want to go short here because, once we pushed up here, I started to expand this channel right here. Let me get that. So I started expanding this channel, and I didn't want to enter right into that. So there's really no way to enter on here. But we do push lower here. We just fade back into the overnight high. So we push back in. We have this correction here. It doesn't reach anything. Doesn't reach the EMA. We continue lower, and then we correct to the EMA here. We have this first entry. It starts getting pretty sideways just with those 3 bars there, and then the second entry pushing above the EMA. It's not the most clear entry here. You do have that second entry right there. It looks like these highs were fitting well. That's one problem, but also it just started going pretty sideways, and then it rushed above the EMA like that. So this is not a very good looking entry right here. But it does work out. That doesn't mean it's going to work every time, but we push lower here, and then we kind of form this larger range a little bit, and then we break out, pull back. So we have a breakout, pull back, completely sideways right there. You don't want to enter on that. It's really just not an ideal entry. And then at this point, you're still entering into this resistance right here from this swing, and it clearly was holding off of this resistance right there. So you don't want to just enter on this or on this breakout, on this lower high from that breakout pullback right there. But then here we push back up, we start pushing down, and that's when this channel becomes a little bit more clear off these 2 highs right there. It holds for a third time right there. But you wouldn't want to enter, on a sharp first entry like that. That's just too risky. But then here you get this fourth bounce. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces right off the key entry point. You can see first entry short, second entry short. Even though it had some STT right there, the STT actually overshot. So if you drag it to the other bar right there, it overshoots a lot. If you drag it all the way to this bar, there's really no reason to think that this bar is part of that uptrend, that small uptrend right there. But so it didn't worry me, even though you had that, right there. It looked, because overshoots are a sign of price being overbought. So on a short term, that looked overbought because when you have a STT and you can't drag it over to anything clear without it spiking through it, that's a sign of it being overbought. Which, that's the thing about indicators. People have indicators to tell them when stuff is overbought, like RSI and stochastics, whatever. I don't care for any of that kind of stuff because you can tell when stuff is overbought without indicators. You just have to really learn the price action, and overshoots are a sign of overbought or oversold. So anyway, so we push lower here. At first I had my target bigger on this. At first I had it all the way down to here, but I lowered it once I reduced my target once we went sideways for 3 bars right here. I thought, it could, we do have this almost double bottom right there. It started going sideways a bit, so I just raised my target just to be safe. But I probably could have gotten a couple more ticks off it, because with this measured move, I should have just played this measured move right here. I could have gotten a couple more ticks out of that. I should have just played it with that, because we did have the bias. It was right off that key entry point. But, anyway, it's not a big deal. We push lower here. We start going sideways. We correct up. We have this first entry, or you can see to the tick, you can see first entry short, second entry short, but it's not off anything. Plus, that's barely a second entry. So we start going sideways here. We have this first push up here, break, second entry right there. We don't even reach the EMA. It's just, it's holding off this small resistance right there, but that's not enough to enter short, especially when you're that low into, this channel here, this down channel. Also, when you come off one side of a channel, just like in a range, when you come off one side, you want to see 2 attempts to reach the other side before you enter. And this right here is really just 1 attempt higher, and then break, and then that's your second attempt higher. So you have that first entry short, second entry short. This channel right here was a possibility, but it broke immediately. Now, this, I didn't like how it barely did not reach the key entry point there. If it had reached the key entry point, then I would have liked it even with this STT right here, because it was right at a measured move, but it couldn't reach the key entry point, so it's not off of any good resistance, unfortunately. If we had gotten something closing out or below the EMA that actually had room down to these lows right here, then I would have liked it. But of course, if you enter all the way down there, it's like you're going to have to push that way out of this range right here, and you almost would have gotten filled on it. But it's not worth it. So we bounce off this low again. We have 1 spike higher. There's no reason to go. You need 2 attempts higher at reaching their side before you can consider going short, but we just spiked straight through those highs right there. We spike up here. We start going sideways. We have this, breakout. We have this, or, we break out of this channel right here, which it's really more like this. We have this spike up, small break to a new high, but on a big picture, you can tell that even with that break and a new high, that's really 1 spike up, and this right here is a more significant break. So it's more like uptrend, break, new high, and then we kind of continue in this range right here. Now, with this downtrend, to look for a short, I was wanting to see, a downtrend, so downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, but we needed it to get below the EMA. I wanted to see an entry push below the EMA, then offer us a second attempt lower, and then get a 2-legged move down. Getting in on that 2-legged, on the second leg from below the EMA is what I wanted. But we ended up just holding here for a 3rd time here, which when you have this uptrend break, you have first attempt higher, you make a new high, and then you're making a triple bottom right there. To me, this, it's not the best looking entry because it's kind of going sideways there, but it actually ticked lower and made a trap, triple test right there. Once again, uptrend break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. It doesn't look that bad as long as you can get out before these highs right here, which I should make it right here because it really only had that 1 breakout. So you have 1 breakout, you need really 2 breakouts to actually raise the highs. So the highs would be right here. So if you can get in with a limit order to get out before these highs, then I think this trade looks good right here. I unfortunately was away from the computer at the time, but if you could have gotten in with a decent limit order, that absolutely looks like a good trade. So anyway, then we bounce here, we bounce off the highs, bounce back off the lows. There's really no clear entry either way. We break out, and now we have this possible uptrend in play here. So that's really where we're at. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. We can draw this measured move right here. So we can expect prices to probably retest these highs. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. We can expect prices to possibly retest these highs up here, if not reach the measured move. So yeah, that's probably going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and yeah, hope y'all have a good day.